Welcome back to Building Insight. I'm your host, Quentin Glenn, alongside my co-host, Amy Morecco.
Hi.
Our guest today is Mike Curran, the Director of Construction with Vista Homes.
Yeah, I love being here. Thank you for having me.
Welcome.
Thanks for coming, Mike.
Yeah, great.
So, I guess let's just hop right into it. I mean, you and I have had multiple conversations. We've worked together in the past, and like me, you have kind of a non-traditional route into construction.
Yes.
Very much. My background was in headhunting and recruiting, and here I am running a commercial flooring company, right? So kind of just walk us through how you got here, who you are, and
so it is a weird story. Not to get too personal with it, but at the same time, my story is my story. Growing up, I had a love for architecture, and I had actually a academic scholarship to go to state for architecture. Family crisis, things came up, and I made a choice to not pursue that. Hindsight, oops. But the reality is I made a choice. And so then it led down a road of literally I was managing a furniture store. And this guy I made a relationship with was buying furniture to stage his, $1 million customs and things like that for sales. And he looked at me, he's like, "What are you doing here?" And he gave me a shot. And that was over 25 years ago. And so then it was like, wow, okay. I hit it off, was with them for years, going through until the market turned. But yeah, I literally was given a shot. And that's how I got in the industry. Now I'm all in.
You're
Love
stuck.
it. Yeah.
We always say that it's either you stumble in or you are in it from the beginning. But once you're in it, you're in
You're
it.
in it. There's no turning back. Yeah, but I do. I love it. But it's been a little bit of an odd story, especially not to stay at like that entry level, to grab it and just go and run with it.
Yeah. It's funny because like that's kind of what happened to me, right? Like my background, like I said, was in headhunting and recruiting. I had my own headhunting company. Before that, like I was in college, I started my own tech company. We were doing like all sorts of different stuff, and just to like get by, I found the first job that I could apply for. It was a recruiting job. Found out that I was kind of good at that. Stayed there for a couple years, started my own gig. And then I came across Jason, and I worked for Jason for like 2 years doing headhunting for him. And just like you, he kind of just gave me a shot. Right. And now, here we are almost 3 years later, and, I ain't never going back. I like it here.
Right. 100%.
Yeah. So, tell me about what you guys do at Vista Homes. Like, what your kind of bread and butter is, and kind of go from there.
So we are I would say, a smaller builder in the micro markets of, uptown Charlotte. So we kind of go into some of the really various areas. It depends on what kind of product we're building, from single family to connected product. But we'll go in and assess what we can build to kind of bring a nice, product to that area. May it be through a townhome, a semi-custom, or a, single family. And we go in and we'll just take care of the full turnkey demo, design of the product, and build. So it's a different space that I've been in, coming from, the world of production, corporate home builders. We do like to stay in the uptown Charlotte area and fit the need of wherever we're wanting to grow in that area. So it's different for me. I'm learning a lot, which is different actually how to do some things. But yeah, I mean we get out in the uptown area, build, and go for it.
Yeah.
So.
Do you guys find your own land? I noticed on the website, like if I owned my own land, you would build on that, but you guys also find your own land.
So the Build on Your Land program that we have, that is definitely growing in this market from people that are already in the Charlotte area. We've got a pretty good reputation. They reach out to us, and we pretty much take over whatever project they want to do. Our spec building that we do is one of the ways, in my mind, hopefully Jason and Zeb would agree, in my mind, when we go into those areas when we build specs, is areas we want to start making an impression or an influence on, to kind of break ground in a new market, or new micro market, if you will, to get in certain areas. Like right now we're getting ready to get into South Park, Cotswold, things like that. Nice. And to do that, we're also upscaling our product. But we go in and roll in the specs first, and then as we're doing that, we'll start picking up the Build on Your Lot business as well.
Because people will see the units and be like, okay, that's what I want.
Right. Because we don't function out of like a model home like you would a neighborhood. We don't. What you see is what we build, what we have our hands on.
That's your marketing.
So it is truly, when you ride up to one of our job sites, this is what you're going to get from us.
Right.
So yeah, we do it's a very personal piece we do with everybody.
Yeah, and I mean it's a stark difference from what it is that you did on like the production side of things. So what are some of, at least in your observations, like the main differences between, those large production based home builders and what it is that you're doing now?
So I would say the biggest thing, which is why I've also loved my transition to Vista Homes, is the customer matters and your people and your team matter. To where production, you are feeding the machine. Which still, I mean, it's great. It's fine. It's what drives one of the biggest engines for industry in America is home building. You go for it. But years of that grind it's rough. To where now you still do what you love in construction, but the personal touch with the customers, the personal touch with your staff and your team, those interconnections, they do matter. So there's a lot more personal level that really brings more of to me, a better drive and a better work ethic to what you're doing, because you're not just showing up to work and checking boxes. You're actually impacting lives around you.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. You're not putting up numbers for the corporation. You're dealing directly with Mr. and Mrs. Smith and making sure that you can bring their dream to reality.
Yes.
And I'm sure, like we were talking before we started, that part of it brings certain challenges as well. Right. But at the same time, I'm sure that would be a good trade-off for you, right? Like you're dealing with somebody who's making the largest financial decision of their entire life.
Yes.
So, the homeowner is wanting to be intimately involved, I would assume, for the most part. Whereas on the production side, it's more about, again, stick to the schedule, get this many units out.
Right.
So like with that in mind, what are some of like the trade-offs and the benefits of working more directly with the owners as opposed to trying to get the numbers out?
So I think the trade-off, one of the main benefits is it's the full transparency going into it, to where in the corporate world, production world, you kind of spend your time setting parameters and boundaries, not showing the customer how the sausage is made. It's like you are protecting them also for their own interests to not see how certain things are done in the industry. But in this space, it's full transparency. So, and that has its pros and its cons. You have to do a lot more educating, spend a lot more time with the customer, which again, we love that. Our goal is to create raving fans. So we don't mind walking you through the ins and the outs of what's going on. Here's our plans. Here's the UDO process that we're going through. Here's everything we have to change. Whatever in the space that we have to execute differently that might change an expectation, we are fine with sharing that full transparency to show you just what the process is. And we're not just making a decision to save a buck.
Right.
We're making a decision to make your finished product the best we physically can make it within our parameters and restrictions in which we have to build, right? So yeah, it's a different way to navigate your customer overall.
Right.
Yeah, I feel like people don't understand how much goes into the construction industry itself. Even just doing like a small reno in someone's house, like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize it was going to get this messy.
Right.
I was like, well, we're sanding and finishing your floors. Like, yes, there's going to be dust. You know what I mean? But to your point, if the customer is aware of all of that in the forefront, then they're going to be a lot more likely to be understanding about it, and like their expectation is set, So I understand that for sure. We joke all the time about how the single family residential is more difficult sometimes than the multifamily because you're dealing with somebody's personal space. You know, I'm not saying multifamily is not hard. That's not what I'm saying.
No, absolutely not.
It's a different beast for sure dealing with the homeowner directly.
And that's where when you deal with, like, from the production world, I did a build to rent model, grew that business, to a decent, was pretty much a monster in the market. All you cared about was getting the home built, get it done, get it finished, go, move on to the next. Now, I still believe in the faster you build a home, the less variables you have, and it can still be a good quality home. You don't want a home just sitting. It's not good for the house. So we still have different things we want to do and execute well, but there is a level of care you have to where, if this corner on this production home is off a little bit, you explain it away. Here, let's fix it. We have time. It's not holding us up. Let's make it right for you. And it's encouraged instead of, just let it go. It's good enough for government work, right?
Right.
That's not the way we are.
Well, but kind of at the end of the day, to that point, like, for us, like we do floors, right? And when you're dealing in that level, you're putting the floors on the ground that they're going to raise their kids on, right? And they're going to have it for the next 30 mortgage paying years of their life. So like they need to love it, right? And when you take that like heart of a teacher almost, and like explain things to them and the whys behind why it's happening, you know, it's my experience that people are a lot more receptive to that, even when there is, you know, the inevitable hiccup that happens, right?
Oh, that's just construction. I mean, that is the new home industry. The hiccups, you plan for them, you do the best you can to avoid them. But the fact that everything we are doing is your investment, is where your life is going to happen, we want it to be the best we can physically make it for you.
Right. So, you know, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, you know, you've, like I said, you've worked for big home builders, you've worked for more custom side of things. You have a breadth of experience in this industry. It's changed a lot over, I mean, especially over the last 10 years, but I'm curious kind of what your take is on, you know, where the industry is going and some of like the big innovations that you see on the front lines building.
So in the years in production world, I guess, so let me preface. Now I think the way I see where the industry is going is now through the lens of me doing something completely different than I've ever done. So in the production world, it was always speed, execution, you know, value engineering, things like that. And I was always following those trends of what is the industry doing to bring, you know, the results that whatever corporate industry wants to have happen, right? To where now, working in the world I am with Vista, and it's truly making raving fans and make your customers love what you're doing, and at the same time also love you for doing it for them, right? Now it's like, well, then how do we provide a better service? How do we have our processes more seamless for you to be able to come in and not, like the design process for a corporate builder, some of those big guys, it is, I mean, it can wear you down fast.
Oh, we know. We deal with it every day.
Right?
Oh yeah.
So it's like, so how do we make this process for you to where you're not losing time? So we look and we look at where the market's going and even some of the systems to where now, well, we're looking into now a design system that we can send to you. It gives you a preview of what's readily available that we know we can get our hands on. Start looking through it before you meet with our designer. Because if you look through this and have a good idea of what you're doing, then when you meet with us, now it's just we're catching up, we're going through what you already like.
Right.
But let's make this more of a seamless transition to where you're not getting stressed out over it. Because over the years now, settling in my age I'm at now, building has always been a thing that can drive a wedge between a customer and the GC building the home because of just tension. We want to relieve that tension. And make it as authentic as possible. And really, so that's what we're trying to drive for, is where do we find that piece to bring a level of comfort, which is not looking at your regular systems, not looking at, I don't know, things to increase cycle time. It's how do we make it better for you?
Right.
So we get a little creative with that.
That's smart, because I don't think people think about all the options you have and all the choices you have to make. What color fixtures do you want? Brass, black, you know, chrome, whatever. Like, and the whole thing, like the paint, the granite. I mean, it's a lot. So that's smart to have them sit with it and resonate with what you can offer and what's available, to your point, you know, instead of setting them up for failure. You're like, well, here, this is what we offer. And then it's like, oh, there's 20-week lead time on that product, you know? So that's really smart.
So I guess what we try to do is we work with, you know, like your team. What can you get your hands on? We don't want something that's being shipped out of, you know, Italy that might have a 4-month lead time that we can't really give a target of how it's going to be executed. So let's find things that we can execute well. So it's more of the research into the market of where is the market at? Where can we provide, I guess, some sort of, value to what we can get our hands on that we know we can execute well. Because if we know we can execute it well, we know then the customer is going to be, I guess, a better service being provided because we're not putting that strain now on you.
Right.
So those are the kind of trends we track. It's a little bit different, but we're still looking at really just overall how can we build better.
Yeah, you're trying to delete the friction on the customer side of things by, you know, like you said, putting systems in place, you know, whether that's like technological systems or like internal operation systems to make it as enjoyable of an experience as possible, right? Like we have something, you know, 5 years ago for flooring, like you were doing estimates, a laser was like was awesome, right?
Right.
And then you'd go in, you'd measure somebody's house, and then you'd be like, all right, cool, I'll get you a quote in 2 days. Like, we're going to draw it up, this and that. Now our team has iPads where they can just like shoot it real quick, like input the dimensions, and they can like turn it around to you and say like, all right, this is what your house is going to look like. Like, let's select your color real quick, right? It's like skip. Ooh, really like that one, right? And then, on the customer side of things, they're not like burdened by that long decision process or overwhelming, amount of information. It's like, here it is. This is what you're working
with. Or the anticipation too.
Right.
You're like, I'm ready. Where's my quote? I'm excited. Let's go.
Yeah. So we try to meet the need of whoever our customers are. So we have products that we just offer. Here's our package. It's A or B. Maybe gold, maybe black. These are our packages for this product, because you don't need to be overstressed with anything more than that for maybe some of our connected product, townhome product, things like that. But then you go to our single family, we offer a little bit more. Then you go to our luxury, we offer a little bit more to kind of let you still have that semi-custom feel, but not so much that now we can't even give you a target of how we can execute this, because if it's a build on your lot program, you are carrying those carrying costs of the loan and everything else, not us. So we're trying to be good stewards to not now make this, I guess, those hidden expenses, those things that come behind the scenes kind of jump out at you, because it's taking us a long time because we gave you too many options and it's just overwhelming.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, you obviously are a leader of people too, right? Like you have a pretty good team, and you've worked with large teams. I know you've managed large teams. Similar to kind of where we're at. Your team now is smaller.
Yes.
But I think that's, at least in my opinion, that gives you a lot of advantages, right?
Yes.
So can you talk a little bit about, being a leader of, again, like a large group of people versus,
Sure. So in a large team, to make change or transition, it's like you're trying to steer the Titanic out of the way of the iceberg,
Yeah, I've used this example so many times. Yep.
It's just like, you see the problem coming, you're like, oh man, it's a big ship you have to turn.
He's getting ready to say jet ski right now.
Right.
I guarantee it.
Well, now I have to. Yep. Now I have to say jet ski.
Because we're brothers.
Right.
Shoot too.
Best ever. Yeah. So no, but now we are nimble like a jet ski. We can adjust to the market. We can adjust to the team's needs. And I will say, but managing a smaller team is more difficult, because a larger team you can kind of glaze over, and not intentionally. I don't want to ever say that about anybody who manages a big team. It's hard, but you're focusing on the overall standard, right? The big processes, to where we still will have processes and procedures in a smaller business, but I'm meeting with you. I know how you're doing. I know when your dog gets sick. I know when you can't make it to work on time. I'm like, literally, we're right here. And so you have to have a level of personality to appreciate what life is. So it's different, to where I still have the same attitude, no changes in the corporate world. But for me, it was a little bit more stressful, because I am a different kind of manager. I care how my people are doing. And when I saw that one of my people was stressed, or they're going through a family emergency or something's going, but they have 75 homes they're trying to crank out this quarter, it's like, it's hard to react, because you can't move somebody else who's already overloaded to help support or do anything. You are literally watching them drown, and you can't do anything about it. To where now, like, we had a little bit of an issue, a very minor issue come up. They're always minor. We all jumped on a call this morning, and it was like, okay, let's get the fix. And we all jumped in. Everybody's playing their part to bring support to a teammate. And we're getting it done. It's not easy, because now we're still dropping what we have to do, but we can be nimble, react, and jump in. So we're the bigger business is a little bit just almost like every man for themselves.
Right.
That's been my experience, at least. So.
Well, I mean, so we had. Gosh, I can resonate a lot with what you're saying, right? Because, our team is younger, right? And, they have their professional aspirations. And, when they look at me as their leader, like, it's my expectation. Like, I'm failing if I'm not helping them reach those aspirations, right? So, like, I know the name of, my procurement specialist dogs, both of them, right? Like, I know what daycare Amy takes her daughter to. Like, it's those types of things. so, being able to remove, the personal piece. I don't want to say remove. It's more about like integrating like who you know them to be as a person with how do I help this individual succeed is really kind of the key. Because I've worked in large corporations as well, and it's always been about like the number, right? It's like, I look at, I was a manager of 40 recruiters and account managers, and I'd look at somebody that they missed 3 days this week, and I look at it, it's like, well, their numbers are behind.
Yeah.
Right. Now I can sit there and be like, this person's missed 3 days this week. What's going on? Right. Like what can I do to help them feel better in this situation? And then, because we have a team like who all kind of has that same relationship with everybody, we can be candid with each other and be like, all right, who's picking up this slack? Like, what can we do to make sure that when, this person walks back in the door, it's like nothing ever happened. Right.
Yeah.
But man, I'm still reeling over the fact that you used my analogy over there.
I didn't see it anywhere either.
It's fine. No, that's fine. I thought I came up with it.
Right.
Maybe it just carries.
It works. So, but now with the smaller team, I will say, so I love, and maybe it's because of my age, I'm kind of like a dad. I guess I really am the office dad. So our team is younger, and knowing their strengths and weaknesses as an individual, I know how to help them grow to where I know they want to be in 5 years from now, 10 years from now, because their strengths, their weaknesses, whatever they function in, it's like you can see it and you can spend time with it. So when I had a team of like 45 people, it's everybody's competing for the next promotion,
right?
And it's a crapshoot. You train everybody, you blanket everybody in the next process, but in a smaller group, you can look and say, "Oh, you're my person. You're the one that I know I can grow to be the next, area manager, senior project manager, whatever the case may be." And as long as you're willing to put in the work and do the training and let me help you get there, I'll get you there. Yeah. Like that your goal for you is my goal for you. Yeah. I want to get you there, and it takes away some of that stress of trying to find that piece or gap of having to even recruit or do anything. It's like, no, this person can do it. I just got to get them there. And that. So that relief. So as Vista grows and we grow, maybe go into other markets or we just grow our product line, I can look at the team we have now and say, I know what I have to do to get this team to the next level. So as we hire, they are the ones that are now, the managers of people.
Right.
And that burden for that to be free is helpful. So, yeah.
Well, and, I talk a lot about like good leaders have the ability to code switch, right? And, deliver feedback. I deliver feedback to one person different than I deliver feedback to the other person, right? Because, I know my project manager, the more direct I am with him, the better the outcome's going to be.
Yes.
Right. Where, I have other members of the team where, they like the affirmation side of things and knowing that like, hey, you're doing a great job. Like it's, if we move this and kind of more of a coaching aspect. And again, like when I was with larger corporations, it really, it was really hard to do that because, you're almost on your own island as a supervisor, as a manager. And you want, you just can't touch everybody the way that you can in situations like that.
Yeah, so, and even if you try to, now you're just putting too much stress and expectations on yourself that you just can't meet. So, but now you can set those goals for yourself to now pour into your team and still be doing it while you're growing the business.
Create those other leaders.
Right. So, yeah, I mean the owner of our company, Jason, tells me like I have two main directives. It's obviously like grow the business, right? But the secondary and probably more important is like how do I create more leaders?
Yes.
Because the more leaders that I can create, that elevates me further to be able to go do those more higher value tasks, right? And I'm sure you kind of see it in the same way. Like,
same exact way.
Right.
I mean the way I got into the industry, back to that, was somebody gave me a shot. I mean, I was selling furniture for God's sakes, and then he took me into building $3 and $4 million homes, and now this was 25 years ago. So imagine a $3 or $4 million home 25 years ago.
Right.
Monster houses. And I'm like, I have no idea what to do. Like, where do I start? And he's like, I got you. Don't worry about it. I believe in you. I trust you. Now just trust me. And that changed my life. I mean, he literally changed my life by giving me a shot.
Yep.
So I treat everybody that I come in contact with the same way. It's like, if I see that in you, I'm going to give you a chance. I'm going to give you everything that I can to see you grow. And then if we can get you there, I know that we both are going to make it and have succeeded in growing the business and growing you as an individual, because the businesses can only grow if the people grow.
100%.
And if you're not investing in your people, then you're just revolving door.
Right.
Yeah. And that's the worst thing that can happen to a company is turnover.
So, you talk about, the person who gave you a shot, and, one of the things that I try to do on my, my side of things is, like, I try to become a mentor to, everybody who works for me, because, like, I've had a number of mentors in my life. Some good, some really bad.
Yeah.
Right. Talk to me a little bit about some of your mentors, like people who you've worked with and looked up to.
So I'll say, obviously this gentleman, I don't know if I should use names or not, because I don't know. I didn't ask them. So he started in the Charlotte market and he taught me everything. It was like, I knew what a tape measure was. I grew up in construction, doing framing, some stone masonry, things like that through college. But he was the one that said, no, you're not going to do it. You need to manage it.
Yeah.
And got me into a different mindset. And literally, it was silly. The first thing he told me was almost like Mr. Miyagi. He was like, okay, sweep the house. And I'm like, why am I sweeping the house? I mean, this is ridiculous.
Hilarious.
And he's like, no. He's like, it's in framing stages. All this stuff's going on. He's like, I promise you, sweep the house. And that's how I started to see when flooring comes in, where subfloor not being screwed down or not being attached, or seams in your plywood. Oh man, this is going to affect carpet. It's going to affect tile. And he's like, okay, now you see now that this stage matters to what's going to be happening 3 months from now. So he really set a huge foundation and kind of almost emboldened me a little bit to now not be afraid to reach out. So some of the mentors then in time would be I'm not that shy of a person. I will literally walk up to somebody that I see is doing something extremely well and be like, okay, we're doing this.
Teach me. Yeah.
And so I did that, was my next stage. Once I got through, custom homes and doing that, he ended up having to close his doors. Then I got into the production business. The production business is where I was like, okay, I know how to build these houses. I can build these in my sleep. But that guy doing land, I want to know what that's all about.
Yeah.
Jumped right in. And I still talk to that gentleman today. And that was the first time I had experience with mass grading, development, things like that. And then over the years, he's connected me with other folks and other people. And I've looked at those people in the industry that are been in it longer than me, and I stay connected. So that person connected me with another guy who now is a regional, almost a consultant for major like corporate guys. I don't know if I should use names or not, but the guys that turn over like 1,000 homes a quarter, massive. He is doing all their land dev consulting. So here I am at Vista Homes, and I have a single infill lot. Hey, buddy.
Yes.
I don't know what to do here. Oh yeah, here you go. And it's like he'll meet me out here, and just walk around and be like, no, I got you. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
And it's beyond a mentorship. They've become friends, even to a point. Jason, I don't know if he even knows about this story. It's about 2 years ago. I was going through like, man, this industry sucks. I'm having a hard time. I called Jason, and I was like, I'm not. And we weren't even using you guys at the time. It was just that connection I had with him, and he kind of like talked me off a ledge a little bit. And he was like, hey man, hold on, you're good at what you do. It's everybody hits a lull. So I wouldn't say Jason's like a mentor, but he is somebody I look up to in business. And it's like, the people you find around you, you can find any opportunity to find something that can lead you on a better path. It doesn't have to always be an individual. So even those bad mentors that I've had that maybe give me bad advice, well, there's the 10% you did give me stuck.
Yeah.
The 90%, well, just
or you learned what not to do.
Right, exactly. You learn what not to do.
Yeah.
So I kind of take on whatever relationships I have, and I look at that. I mean, I did the same with you two. I value everything that you do, may it be in your industry or personally. I can get something from that. Interaction with people is key in this business. So maybe it's an unconventional look, and somebody else watching this show like, man, this guy's a nutbag. But that's how I operate. That's how I to me have thrived in the business. Is I find value in whoever I meet, and if that person is somebody like, okay, I really need to learn something, I dig in.
Yeah. Yeah,
so
that's like the key to how I became who I am, because I share that same mindset, right? Like Jason was my client, like you know, for 2 years we had a great relationship, and through my interactions with him, you know, I was a small business owner. We were doing good. I mean, we're, you know, seven-figure business. Had 3 or 4 people working for me. I saw what he was building, and like how he conducted himself, and like how he spoke about. You know, what he does, and I was like, I gotta get close to that. Like I really gotta dig in here, right? So I remember telling my fiance, I'm like, listen, this is the opportunity. Like I can stay doing what it is that I'm doing and kind of just pedal through and get there, or I can take like one step backwards and have the mind of a student and really trying to dig into it. And make that investment within myself to hopefully be able to, you know, launch my career further, right? And then, you know, lo and behold, here we are. She loved Charlotte more than she loved Arizona anyways, and, you know, the rest is history.
There you go.
But no, that's cool. And, you know, obviously I try, and I know you try as well, to be a mentor for others. You know, what's kind of your take on how you do that effectively? Like, how do you know, obviously it's kind of, you know, a case by case basis, but
and it's up to them if it's effective, not me. So
for sure, right? But like, what's kind of your philosophy on that, being a leader?
So I would say still, what you see in them that may not see themselves, you have to nurture that. Because anybody has confidence issues, or maybe knowledge or strength or wisdom, whatever it is. But if there's one thing that I've gained over the years of doing this, is a level of confidence and a level of wisdom. For instance, I have one of my senior construction managers. She's a rock star, and I wouldn't say we have a mentor-mentee relationship, but I look at her and I'm like, you're a force to be reckoned with, and if I can give you the wisdom that I have now at the age that you are now, you're going to be unstoppable. Like your career is going to grow. Your maybe your belief or your view in yourself is going to be so many like years beyond where you are. So let's spend time with that. And it may not be like a mentor-mentee relationship, but that is how I approach it. Is if not that anything that I can do to get you there, you can do that yourself. I'm just giving you the confidence for you to be able to do it, and maybe a little bit of a toolbox to help you get there.
Right.
Because, you know, again, where I am now is the belief people gave in me, not necessarily what they did for me. There was opportunities and trust they had, but they trusted me to be myself, not trust me to, okay, let me change you and make you, you know, me junior. Trust who you see in them. And that's all. I was like, hey, I'm just telling you, I know you can already do it.
Yeah.
But here's some stuff to get you there. And I would say my wife have always been involved with some sort of, you know, I'd say maybe over the years we've kind of backed off a little bit. When we were younger, we met with college kids. They come over to our house every Saturday for breakfast. And it was like, no, let's just have fun and goof around. And I kid you not, this was not us, not by any means, but this one guy was a server in a restaurant, and that's all he ever saw in himself. And I was like, dude, no. I'm like, do whatever you want. And that's all we ever said. No, you can do whatever you want. I kid you not. He just published a book in child psychology in his field, top rated. I'm looking, I'm like, wow. Like, just having somebody to believe in you maybe helped you. And in this industry, I would say, there's so many folks against you for their own agenda. I never want that to be me. I want to be that person who's like, no, my agenda is to show up and do the best I can every day. The bonus is to help you show up and for you to be the best you can every day and see how you grow and develop. And that's kind of been just the way we approach everything. It's really more personal, more individual, getting to know you, not here's some assignments, go do this and grow. No, like what makes you tick.
Yeah.
And I would say that's my wife has probably done that more for me. She's like, okay, dude, this is what makes you tick. Stop doing that, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, so it's very more organic, more fluid, more, very, very, very personal with folks. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. You talked a lot about your wife there, and you've heard me say this a bunch, but I think it's, having that partner who can, construction's a stressful job, right? Like, I'm sure there are days you walk in the house and you're just like, right? What role has your wife played in, your ability to grow and succeed to the levels that you're at?
Now I can't get teary-eyed. She is my rock.
Yeah.
I mean, she's fantastic. So for years, we were married when I was the manager of the furniture store. And when this transition, I was like, look, this is safe. She's like, don't be safe. Mm-hmm. She's like, go. Like, you've loved architecture. Construction. She's like, again, it's that thing. She saw something in me that I wasn't seeing in myself.
Yeah.
And she's, go. You can do it. Don't worry about it. And I gotta watch it. So then over the years, so now we've been married. God, it's what? We got married in 99. What was that, 26 years? So now over the years, we've got 3 kids, and now our youngest kid is autistic, nonverbal, and she's again my rock. Just has shown me ways to communicate with folks that can't communicate, and gives me a confidence that I would just never have without her.
Yeah.
So you can feel free to cut that out. It's good. No, I'm just kidding. But that's the thing. That's what. So when you talk about having a bad day or coming home, bringing something home with you, when I get home, I can't believe what we have here.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to bring this energy back to my house.
I love that.
Let what you guys have, throw it at me. Let's go. The chaos, the love, whatever it might be, I'm ready for it. And she cultivates and creates that for our family. I'm just the guy that brings home the paycheck.
Yeah.
She is everything.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
Super sweet.
Yeah, that is super sweet. I've told this story before, but Jessie, my fiance, I was in a cushy corporate job. Like I was making good money. We found out that she was pregnant, and I had something kind of just like lit inside me. I'm like, I can't be doing this. Like I want to make our own thing. Yeah. So I told her, I was like, it'd be a really cool idea if I quit my 6-figure job and started my own company.
Right.
Like while you're 2 months pregnant.
Yeah.
And she
best idea ever.
She was like, yeah, let's go.
That's amazing.
Like she's like, I believe in you.
Yeah.
Like, we'll figure this out.
Yeah.
And to have somebody who you can rely on to believe in you is everything.
Yeah.
Man. That gave me all the confidence that I needed to go out and make the 500 cold calls a week that I needed to be able to find the guy who referred me to Jason to, be able to build the team that served his team and, got me the opportunity. Like it all stems back to that singular moment of her just saying I believe in you.
So I hit a career low. I was at this company that their goal was to grind their people down. That's the way it was perceived. And I was told in one of my interviews, your kindness with your people is your weakness. And it stuck. Like it stuck to me like a wound, I was like, I can't shake this. And so after that, I went back to my wife and I was like, this is what happened today, is where we're at. And she goes, don't listen to that garbage. She goes, your kindness is what got you where you are. And then I did. I looked back to mentors and other folks I respected, no. Don't let that one person that maybe just sucker punched you be the thing that gets you down. And she's always been the one to point me back to, this is you. Don't forget that. This is you. And so somebody I look up to in the industry, she's now the division president for a major corporate builder here in the market. She sent me to this training, and it's the best training I ever got in my life. But it taught me, you have your identity and you have your role. Your job is your role. Your identity is who you are. And that identity cannot be affected by however bad or rocky the role gets, because that is just what you do. but how you do it is defined by your identity. And that's where my wife's like just been, no, this is you. Don't ever change you. Your role is going to shift and move in the industry. The things you do are going to change. You're going to have to adapt. You're going to have to go through other things to get the knowledge that you need, but you as an individual never changes. And she's just been fantastic to keep that true.
That's spot on. I love that, honestly. Because it's hard. I feel like I'm kind of similar to, I don't know you that well, but I feel like your energy, I'm kind of like that. And sometimes he's like, hey, you're just so nice. Like you just got, and I'm like, I know, but that's just who I am.
Right.
Like, I can't help, I'm a people pleaser. I like making people happy.
Yeah.
I like being the energy. I like, I'm extroverted to like up there.
Yeah.
Like, I get so much energy from being with people. So I get that. Like that resonated with me.
Well, it's the best because so back in the days when I first met Jason doing the build for rent product, I had to meet with some investors, and they'd all be like, "Okay, Mike, they want to meet a construction guy, and it has to be you." And I'm like, "Well, Mike, well, you're not grumpy," and like so you meet some of the construction folks in the industry, and they're just curmudgeons, just angry, whatever. Like, no, you're the guy. You're going to tour the market with these folks because you love people. We want this, and it's just kind of like. So they're going to end up okay with me, but hopefully it leads to a sale and investment for the company. All right, sure, let's do this. But that's just how I am. Yep. I don't know if I could be any other way. And I love, so again, now with Vista, they embrace that. So that's where I just, again, my journey's been up and down, but where I've landed has been perfect.
Yeah.
Because you're staying true to who you are.
Yep.
No, 100%. I think you're, like Amy said, I think it's spot on, right? Like one of our core values is self-development, right? And like you need to always be focused on like who you are as a person, because it's my belief that if your personal, if you're not working on your personal self, then your professional self will never get to the level that you want it to get to.
Yep.
Right. And likewise with your relationships, like if you're not actively working on your relationships at home, then that comes to work, right? And when that comes to work, that affects your financial, it all kind of stems together. Yeah. So, making sure that, you're always like you mentioned, like training and trying to, become the best version of you and not necessarily change like who you are. Yeah. That's the key in my eyes to, to getting whatever you want. Yeah, truthfully.
Well, and that's the thing. So like in 2008, everybody loves bringing up 2008 when the market tanked. We were in a bad way. I mean, we lost a lot. But I look at the training that I got, just a few years back. It's probably 5-6 years ago. If I knew what I knew at that point and was able to tell myself through those hard times that, like, look, the market's rough right now. Because you got laid off does not make you a bad father. Because the industry is going south does not make you a failure. It just means your role in that job you have, it's going to be really hard for a while. But you as a person are still strong. You're still good at who you are. Don't let your role now make you as an individual crumble. And so I guess kind of bringing that full circle with even mentorship, like those kinds of things are what I'm trying to show folks. Like your role, you can always get better and challenge and learn more and find a piece of knowledge or wisdom or training to get you to a different level, but you're not changing yourself. You're truly only growing into who you are as an individual because your role is also increasing, and you'll find things out about you that are new. Like, let's have that walk together. So it is. It's this is fun. Man, I didn't get that question on the heads up, so this is great.
Yeah, sorry, I kind of.
I like to throw up. Wingers in there.
Do it.
Well, and you kind of touched on it, but usually one of the kind of the closing questions that we got is if you were to look back at yourself, 18-year-old Mike, 20-year-old Mike. With what you know today, what would be like the key piece of advice that you would give yourself to, become successful in life as a person, professionally? Yeah. Like what does that look like?
So I think for me, it because I am a people person, I love engaging folks. It's a little bit easier to almost folks to kind of guide me to being more personable, teachable, but I would have loved to have known that instead of having to take maybe not being able to finish college and things like that, like I felt like I had to learn it the hard way. So I would have loved to have told myself, hey, look, you're good. Like, people are going to come alongside you. Be teachable, be moldable, be the exact person you are. Just grow and mature. You know, don't stop your love for metal and, you know, grunge music. Don't stop, like, be that. That's not immature.
Yeah.
But stay personable. Be willing to learn. Be willing to step a little bit out of your comfort zone, not to go against your identity or who you are, but to find those new things that you don't know you are yet, right? And I would have loved to have gone into it with a little bit more guidance instead of kind of flying blind a little bit. It's like, all right, let's figure this out. So yeah, I'd tell myself just the hard lessons I've learned. I'd kind of be like, okay, brace yourself, they're coming, but you can do it.
Yeah.
And also marry your wife.
And marry my wife, right? Right? It's the best thing that ever happened to me. Best thing.
Oh, that's funny.
No.
Well, I could talk to him all day.
I know, right?
I promise. Let's go. I'm just
No, Mike, it was a pleasure having you.
It was awesome. Yeah.
So,
Thank you.
Again, for Amy Mareko and Mike Curran, I'm Quentin Glenn with Building Insight, and we'll see you next time.
It's a wrap.
Thank you.
Great job.
Yeah.
Cut.
Awesome.